Hey guys, I'm on one of my sites at the moment. This is a 42 lot land sub, stage one's pretty much completed. Titles and settlements happening in the next few weeks. I'm just trotting around on site doing the final inspection before all of that stuff happens. If you saw previous videos where I was on site explaining some things about how I bought this property, how in the last 2 years I've completed it, and then now just waiting on settlements and titles to come through. So payday after the last couple of years on a project. So it's the best part of any development that you do, is actually the end when you get paid, and also you can see the end result. You don't have to do construction, and I talk about the 7 stages of property development, but you don't have to do construction to be or to make money in property development. You just need to know the stages, and then you need to apply the stages. So stage 6 is construction. In this particular instance, the uplift from the development application was something to the tune of 1.6 million, and that was in a flat market. The market did not go up during that time. So I could have on-sold the property with a development approval for an extra $1.5 million, less a few costs, or develop it through to completion and make a whole lot more money than that. So this is the completed product. They're 3,000 square meter lots. They sell exceptionally well in this area. Unfortunately, I sold most of them off the plan at the start of the year. The market since then has gone up by another 50%. So I'm still holding a couple and selling those into the market for an extra couple of $100,000 more than what we started off. So all in all, if I had have held some back, which I could have, if I had held a couple more back, there might have been a couple of extra $1 million in profit in this deal. But I locked in the sales post-COVID, locked them down. I've got other projects to move on with, and locked in the sales so that this project is financially complete, and all I had to worry about was really delivering the project, so I had some construction risk with doing that. And construction risk on a project like this isn't very much. This is actually the 3rd or 4th time I've come to the site since they started construction. I've used the same contractor on a couple of stages. So there's 24 lots in stage 1, another 18 in stage 2, which is about halfway complete, stage 2. So there's only like the 4th time I've come to site. It's a little bit different to if you're building high-end luxury houses or anything like that, and you've got a vision to make those into like monumental developments where you're really putting your love and your blood, sweat and tears into like a really top-end product. These are 3,000 square meter lots. They're in a fairly high end of this market, but in overall it's definitely not a high-end market. And the great thing about land is people don't ask about the fittings and fixtures. They don't ask how many square meters is the bedrooms or the dimensions of the bedrooms. They just want to know, how big is the block? What are the dimensions? Can I put my house on there? Is my house going to fit? So a lot of these blocks were sold to homeowners, and they wanted to know whether their 25-meter wide house was going to fit on one of these blocks. So it's one thing we knew going into it. We knew the market, and we knew that we had to deliver minimum of 30 to 35-meter frontages for most of the blocks, which is what we've done. These sold well, even in a crappy market. So in a booming market, these have sold exceptionally well, and part of the reason why the price has gone up so much as well. One thing I look at even before buying a site, I love to walk the site. It's a bit different to if you're like an interstate property investor. With development, I do a lot of high-level stuff on the computer, but one thing is that I love especially is touching, feeling. You may not have to fall in love with the property as a developer. I didn't have to fall in love with this property, but the people buying into here, the homeowners that are going to be living here, they need to fall in love with it. So what are they going to fall in love with? The great thing I love about this property is that most of it has a creek running through it, so you can see the trees in the backdrop. There's a lot of open space parkland, even in addition to the large blocks, but a lot of these lots back onto that park. There's a lake already in the estate. It's big enough to put a kayak or a canoe in. So just those little things just help add to being able to sell the blocks to homeowners especially, but even with renters, even if it's investment stock, what's different from Or what are you going to do different in your development or in your properties that you're building, even as investment stock, to the rest of the market? So that when the market does go into oversupply, and it's not at the moment, I've always been in a relatively flat market. So if you can make money in a flat or falling market, you're going to kill it in a booming market. And what's happened over the last 12 to 18 months, I don't need to preach to the converted, but the market has boomed, everything's gone through the roof. And obviously these and other developments are in high demand, especially if they've got something unique about them. So there's some buyer objections that you can't overcome. So if you're going to buy a house or a development on a main road, you can never overcome that objection. That main road will always be there. If you're going to buy something that's got power lines near it, or it's in a floodway, you're not going to be able to overcome that unless you get rid of the power lines or remove the floodway. Highly unlikely. So a few things I loved about this is that it's elevated. The whole development is elevated. It overlooks the creek and the trees. It's got a lake in the estate. The existing estate's already established homes. It's not under construction, as in you don't drive into the estate and it's a construction site with crap all over the road. It's presentable, it's nice. It's just those little things that driving around, touching, feeling, your buyers, if you're selling a residential product, your buyers are going to look at the same thing. And it's no different to if you own a house that you're selling. So if it's your own home, it's no different. Somebody else buying that house, if they're looking to live in it, they're going to be looking at the same things that hopefully you looked at before you bought it. What are the schools like? What's the street look like? Does somebody have crap across the road? Are they a hoarder? Is the street messy? Does it have cars on chocks in the street? What are the other cars like? What are your neighbors like? All those little things really matter, especially to a homeowner. If you're just selling to investors, well, most investors, especially now, they're sight unseen, or if they aren't sight unseen, somebody's walked them through the property, or they're not looking at it as such an emotional buy. So investors are easier to sell to, but the first part of the market to crash and burn, as we've seen in the last so many years, is the investor market. So if you're just doing investor stock, that has a tendency to crash and burn a lot easier than, say, homeowners. People always need somewhere to live, whether they're downsizing, upsizing, you're building to a homeowner market, they're always going to be around even when the market's a little bit flat. Hope you've got some value out of that. Share some more with you soon. Catch you later, bye.